everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and for tonight's gigantic panel for how we felt about, we have Austin the Day Ghost.
Goodbye, and then I just hang up and you're on your own.
Oh no, you're on your own. Yeah, apparently the only people lame enough to showed up for this particular review. Welcome, Austin. Thanks for being here, man. I should have taken a lot longer to say your name so it felt like a larger panel. Austin the Day Ghost.
Oh, do it like a boxing announcer.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That'd be great. And then you ring a bell.
But we can't say, "Are you ready to rumble?" You get fined if you say that, and that guy's not there.
Are you ready to Jurassic?
Yeah, I'm sure we can find a way to make it even lamer than that. Welcome, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. We are kicking off our gigantic July of new movie reviews with Jurassic World Rebirth. Admittedly, a movie that I thought would be a bigger deal and more people would be interested in, both folks that we work with on the channel and viewers in general. It had an okay opening weekend, but it didn't do the numbers that I thought it would. And Austin, I think you told me, and don't let me put words in your mouth, that you thought Jurassic World had a chance of winning the summer because they've done so big in the past, and this is certainly obviously not going to get anywhere close to that $1 billion number. It'll make enough to justify possible sequels again, I would think, unless it only kind of makes its money back with its advertising. I don't know, but right now it's about doubled is all it's done.
Yeah, no, I just assumed because these are movies that no matter how poorly they do, they just plow through and make $1 billion. But I guess this is the time. This is the time where it broke.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean, not to get too far into that. We'll get into the review in a second. But what is your guess as to why this one is performing relatively so much weaker than the last one and the last few? I mean, obviously they've all done $1 billion. Dominion was like massively critically panned, but that didn't stop it from hitting those gigantic numbers. So like, do you think it was people, like everybody went and saw it because it's Jurassic World, that's just the thing we do? Like those are always like a not even a cultural moment. It's just, I guess for a while that's the like early MCU thing where everybody goes to see these. Do you think people went, okay, but that was really bad? It's like we saw it, but we're not giving it more money now.
It was just because it couldn't release in IMAX. That's the
that's
only
all it
reason.
Was? Is that a joke, or do you think that had anything to do with it?
I mean, I'm sure they lost like a bit of money off of just that.
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Just the what those tickets cost in the first place. Like they can't milk
exactly.
you out of
They're more expensive.
They can't milk you out of an extra $6 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly.
But yeah, I honestly thought this was going to do, like I said, better than it has been, and even after that first weekend, I thought it would kind of keep building. But I think it's going to struggle real hard against Superman next week. Like, I really wonder what the drop-off is going to look like.
Yeah, because I can't imagine Superman doesn't get #1 at the box office, so I'm sure that will kick it down quite a bit. I think it'll probably have a pretty big drop. And also on because there's like the cinema score or whatever, like I don't know if it's like they poll the audience or whatever, but it got a B, which is pretty low for like a big blockbuster movie. Like even the last, like the world movies before this got at least an A- to A.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we'll get into our feelings on this one. I have to front load this by saying I saw this on Thursday and in the middle of the day on vacation, so it's not super fresh in my mind. I wish I'd had a chance to go see it again. I didn't, so I'm going to do my level best. Hopefully it comes back to me okay. I will say right out the gate, Austin, this is one that, like, there's those particular moments and trappings and things that are sticking with me, but I'm losing it a little bit after a few days.
Yeah, well, because we saw it at like almost the exact time. Like
you went
like an
hour before I did. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was funny how that worked out, especially because I just kind of went on a whim. I was like, I guess I'll just go see it right now. So I'm sure we'll both probably have a little bit of fuzziness.
Not that this is a real complex movie, and it's certainly a less convoluted and a simpler story than I'd say the entirety of the Jurassic World franchise. There's just a lot less going on in general, and it's a lot more action set piece after action set piece. And of course, the big mission statement with David Koepp, the writer, who of course wrote the first two Jurassic Park movies and hasn't done anything in this franchise since then. But he and Spielberg, their whole mission statement, their whole thought process with this was try to recapture as much as possible the kind of feel and atmosphere of the original movie, and in so doing, I think it kind of goes even into a bit of a formula with that movie, which we'll talk about. But there's a lot of kind of familiar beats while not doing a lot of specific member berries.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
No, that's a big thing I'll get into.
like you can see the Red Letter Media like side by side comparison video with this, right? With like scenes in the first Jurassic Park movie and scenes in this, where it's like, look, it's the same movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And no, it's not exactly the same movie, but there's it, and I would say it's more like archetypes and again beats and ideas that are moved around a little bit chronologically, but there's still a lot of the same stuff there. So it is. Would you agree with me if I were to say this is kind of, even though it's still holding on to the Jurassic World name, and we still have a status quo at the beginning of this movie that you couldn't have without the last one, or at least Jurassic House. I'd say this does feel like a second soft reboot.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And like I remember, I don't know, maybe like a year ago, it was around when this was filming, learning a little bit about like the production of Dominion and how they got Kep in and they were like, we need you to fix this. And he was like, no. And they were like, okay, well, we need to damage control really hard, start writing a new movie. And then that's why this comes out so fast. And it coming out so fast is also why this didn't get an IMAX release, which is really funny.
Yeah, and I wonder if it wouldn't be doing better if it was just a year or two later. Like it does feel really fast right after a finished trilogy, and when it's making a big deal out of, we're kind of going back to brass tacks and making this more about what the previous franchise was and all of that. Like I would have let it breathe a little while. I would have given it another couple of years.
Hmm. Yeah, for
Like I
sure.
feel like we just did this. And after Dominion, whether that movie had been good or not, I don't think anybody was expecting a 2-3 year turnaround. Has it been a full only 2 years or a full 3 years?
Oh God,
Was
when
that
did Dominion
was
even
that
come out?
22 or
Uh,
23?
it's either I think it's 22.
It still
So I think it's
feels
been
like
three
it's
years.
been a couple of months to me, right?
Hmm.
Like I feel like we just
Yeah,
did this.
yeah. Well, and this also lost a director at one point,
Hmm.
and then Gareth Edwards came on.
Well, and when Edwards comes on, a lot of the designs and everything are already done for him. Like he gets behind the camera, but he doesn't get to like fully develop this movie. It doesn't sound like
Yes,
from
and
what
we
I
knew that
read.
pretty much from when he was hired. Like that was what the original director said. Was he came on and he was like, they're basically like, go shoot this movie we made. And he was like, I don't want to do that.
So it is
I
just
want to
a
make a
so
movie.
it is just an MCU movie then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Spielberg was the MCU of the '80s. He's coming back. He's like, I gotta beat them at their own game.
Well, Austin, would you briefly give us a little synopsis, kind of non-spoiler synopsis for Jurassic World Rebirth, a movie that I am not feeling the need to rename The last couple of these, I have refused to call them by their actual title. I don't think Rebirth has enough to do with what's actually happening in this movie, besides just it's a soft reboot again. But it.
Well, I learned yesterday it had a more fitting title,
Oh,
and
did
then they
it?
got rid of
What
it.
was
Yeah,
it?
it was originally called Jurassic World Survival, which makes more sense.
Yeah, I mean that does sound like a video game, but then that's
Yeah,
also appropriate for this movie.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, well, I mean, you could say the theme of all of these to some degree has been survival, but certainly the original trilogy more so, because those were like man in the dinosaurs world, the dinosaurs kind of take it over, and then world is more flipped, and now we're trying to kind of go back to that. I wish they had had that title.
What's like, they're trying to survive on an island. They're going to an island where they have the last surviving dinosaurs, in which they want to get a cure for a type of disease. Like, that makes more sense than Rebirth.
Yeah, it's even sort of double entendre at that point because you have your typical like
That was
characters.
triple.
Yeah, like characters in a in a dangerous situation with dinosaurs trying to survive, and then you're right, it is triple because you also have the dinosaurs themselves trying to survive because they can't live in man's like atmosphere. We make a
Hmm.
big deal out of that, or I should say, environment. We make a big deal out of that at the beginning of this, and so they all have to conveniently go back to basically where they were in the first place, because the climate is more like it is in the Cretaceous or the Jurassic period or whatever,
Hmm.
and then it's also mankind itself trying to survive by ironically using something in dinosaur DNA to cure something to cure heart disease,
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
which we just pulled out of a hat to have some kind of an excuse to get the ball rolling.
It was a thing.
Okay, Austin, sorry. Go ahead and give us I already did a little bit of the at least setup synopsis on accident just now, but go ahead and give us some synopsis, and then we'll do our sign flips, non-spoiler or mostly non-spoiler, and then we'll go into some spoilers after that. Thanks for joining us, folks. Leave comments as we go, and just don't ask us about spoilery things until we put up the obligatory spoiler warning with my hands, because I still don't have a sign for it. Go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, so 20 something years after the last Jurassic Park movie, we're finally back with Jurassic Park 4, the new soft reboot in our world of soft reboots. And in this film, apparently, sometime between 3 and this movie, dinosaurs got off the island, and now they're all dying, and they're all back on the island now. And, well,
Most
on a
of them.
different island, even.
Most
Most
of
of them,
them.
yeah.
There's
They're all
there's
dying
a
off,
few that are
though.
just sitting around dying. There's like a giant brontosaurus in the middle of some city. I don't even remember what city we were in.
Oh, it was New York.
Was it New York? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So they're
You got
they're
stuff
all
like that.
dying. They're going back to the island now. So we gotta go back. A evil Dick Dastardly fella is like, I want money for medicine that I won't give to most people, and I'm gonna hire the Dino Crisis crew, and we're gonna go and get dinosaur DNA, and that's gonna be what we do. And they get their group of mercenaries, they get a scientist, and then they go off. And then they also meet a completely different Jurassic Park 4 script, where you have a family on a boating trip, and they meet, and then they go on the boat together after they save the family, and they all end up stranded on the island, and then they go off in their separate ways, and then you have a dinosaur scene with one, dinosaur scene with the other, dinosaur scene with one, dinosaur scene with the other, and then we're done. We're out. We're good. Profit. And that is the movie. The main thing we got to do is the family needs to survive, and like we said, the Dino Crisis team, they need to find 3 of the biggest dinosaurs, take their blood, and then they can cure heart problems.
Yeah, they've got to go through their real obligatory like video game campaign.
Mhm, exactly.
It's real timed out too, where like every so many minutes we accomplish one, and then we get to the
Mhm.
next one and we accomplish that one. And this is another one of those movies where I felt like I should have been holding a video game controller. And I also felt like it would make a better video game than a movie. I don't know if you had that, but like it
Yeah.
just feels like a premise for a Jurassic Park game where it's like, how do we give the player some kind of thing to do on the island? Oh, I know, you're going to get DNA to get to make heart medication happen, and then you've got to go to like the most dangerous dinosaurs and take samples, and even the business with the like vial shooting out the back of the dart and then the parachute coming out and dropping. I felt like a clear mini game in a video game where it's like there's this different play style now and you have to like try to catch it.
It's like a Wii game. You're like,
Yeah,
I got it.
exactly.
Well, there's also parts where it's like when we started to get like a little bit more technical with platformers, where you can see like the next world like in the background of a level.
Yeah.
You kind of have some of that going down.
Well, and then having the two different sets of characters where we're intercutting between their adventures, and it takes until the third act before they finally reconvene. Feels like a way to again just kind of like mix up playstyles and levels, and you could
Yeah,
even
you have your like survival stealth levels and then your action levels.
yeah, like you could even see how that would have translated as a 2D platformer.
Hmm.
Okay, great, says Jurassic Boat. I almost decided to call this Jurassic Boat because I am the arbiter of what Jurassic World movies are called, but I don't feel like enough of it takes place on a boat. Like Jurassic House is like half the movie is just in a house. In this, it's
But a
like
lot of it is on the water.
a lot of it is on the water, which was kind of a new locale that we haven't done as much with in Jurassic Park, and so just for the sake of variety, I kind of enjoyed that as a place. But I feel like if the front end is a place, and then the back end gets more traditional Jurassic Park, it's harder to call it that. It's harder to be like Jurassic Boat, but then like the rest of it's not on a boat, so I don't know if I can call it that.
There is a boat in all three acts, though.
Is there? Is there a boat in the
Yes.
third act?
Yeah, because that's like the escape boat.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, right at the very. Okay, all right. Well, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna compromise on this title though, and again, I am the arbiter of Jurassic World titles. So if I patent this, if I put a stamp on it, we're selling it, and we're selling it, then that's what everybody has to call it. But I'm gonna split the middle with you guys and say Jurassic Boats, because there are too many boats for it to just be one boat. So it can't be Jurassic. It's gotta be it's gotta be plural. It's gotta be Jurassic Boats.
We're gonna need a couple more boats.
All right, Austin. I can't wait to hear your sign flip, buddy. Give us your best thing, worst
God.
thing, and give us your sign flip. How did you feel about Jurassic Boats?
Horrifically disappointed. I was genuinely kind of excited about it, and I felt like a giant moron. Where like everyone around me was like, they're making another one, and I'm like, I don't know. It kind of looks okay.
You gave your hopes up too much.
Exactly. I got my hopes up too much. I started reading the book during it. I'm like, I am in a Jurassic mood. Here we go. And then I go to see it, and the first 40 minutes is like scene after scene of people repeating the exact same exposition. And then
That is true.
after that, it is just like the most like stakeless dinosaur action over and over and over and over and over and over.
Okay, so
After that,
can I ask you,
Yes.
and then I'll leave you alone
Yes.
and let you finish this.
Yes.
What were you expecting walking in versus what you got?
I was just expecting Jurassic Park 3. I was just like, as long as it's fun, it's dumb, I have a good time, I will enjoy it. But I feel like they
So
took
what was
the
it
plot
fun
of
and dumb
3.
enough about it? Like, did it feel just sort of sanitized as far as action and violence went? Like, is it a not violent enough problem, or like what's the problem?
No, so I think they took the plot of 3, in that it is very much that kind of plot, and then they took the feel and tone of 2, in that I'm like horrifically bored through most of it. Is more so my issue. Walking out of the movie, I described it as Kong Skull Island if it still had the tone of Godzilla 2014, where it's like, this does not fit the movie you're making in any way.
And
Uh,
my wife actually overall really liked this movie, but
mhm.
she like everybody with the trailers, because of course she didn't look at much of the trailers and stuff before this. Sarah hardly goes to things in the theater anymore. We were on vacation and I needed to see it for review, so I asked her if she'd go with me, and she was comparing it to Skull Island. Having not
Mhm.
heard anybody else do that, like that's kind of the obvious comparison, and
Yeah, they're pretty
she was like,
similar.
I mean, I liked this. It was fun enough, but like I'd rather watch that. Like that
Mhm.
was kind of her review. She was like, if I'm gonna watch this, why wouldn't I just watch Skull Island?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like that kind of a thing where like I wanted like a fun little adventure movie. Um, that was kind of all I really wanted. With Gareth Edwards directing, I was like, well, at least the like dinosaur stuff will probably be really cool, and it's definitely way better than the last three Jurassic World films. It's a like giant step forward from that, but at the same time, like I said, there's just no stakes to any of it, and a lot of it just ends up being really crappy versions of older set pieces. Like, I hope you weren't excited to see the raft scene finally make it into film because it's just what if the Jeep scene kind of sucked.
Oh, you think? Okay.
Yeah.
I did not have that with it. I thought the raft scene was fine.
Mhm.
I can see like complaints that it's not as thrilling as it could have been. But sorry,
Mhm.
it's your turn.
No, it's okay. Well, and with that one specifically too, like we only adapted like a little bit of it, but anyways, uh, no, just
Oh,
stuff
and
like
I
that.
guess
I'm
I
like,
don't.
we're
It's been too long since I've read that, and I know
mhm.
that you and I just talking privately. It sounds like a lot of your disappointment came from just like reading. You're in the middle of the book again, and I.
I wasn't even at that part in the book when I
Oh,
watched
okay,
it.
okay.
I was just like, this sucks while watching it. uh, yeah, that was just kind of how I feel. Now, as for best thing, worst thing, I guess best thing I will give to just like effects and how it's shot. Like I do think some of that stuff is really good. Um, worst thing, I'm stuck between the writing and the characters. I'm gonna go with the characters. I don't like anyone in this movie outside of Mahershala Ali, who is like only in it a little bit. But it's that Gareth Edwards thing where it's like I only like the blind guy in Rogue One. I only like Bryan Cranston in his Godzilla. Like this is a common thing across his career, unfortunately. Where it's like, oh, here's like the one person I do like in this movie. And it's kind of like a side character. Uh, but yeah, how did you feel about Jurassic World Rebirth, Cap?
So that's a clear red sign flip. We still, after all these years, don't have a sign for Austin.
Oh yes, sorry. No, that was the other thing I wanted to throw out
Oh yeah,
now,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is, and this isn't just on this movie, because, and I said this to Cap off camera, like the first three I think are much worse than this, but they're just so separate. Like they're not even the same franchise to me. Like they might as well be called like Jurassic, what, like whatever. Like it's not even a part of this franchise. But this is like one of the first things where I'm like, I feel like these world movies need to have a based on the novel by Alan Smithy credit because I feel like if you cloned Michael Crichton, he would be like horrifically horrified at this creation.
Yeah, Austin thought that Michael Crichton from Beyond the Grave was possibly responsible for
Right, tech issues.
the technical problems we were having before the show.
Exactly.
So are you good to move on?
Yes, yes.
Before we
Go
get to
for
my
it.
sign flip, let me read the super chat from Killer Moth Returns. Thanks for the support, man. $5 super chat. Kind of awesome that the clone girl ended up inadvertently killing them by freeing them into a non-dino environment. Fitting end to that trilogy.
Bye bye, Blue. You gone.
Yeah, that's hilarious. No, I was quoting the "They're alive like me" line again at the end of this because there's another like somebody's got to push a button and open a thing.
Well, would she
Moment.
also count? Because she's a clone. Like, was she also just slowly dying?
Well, she's not a dinosaur clone. I think the idea was always supposed to be they used the same technology as with the dinosaurs. And then the thing I always made fun of with that was, yeah, but we could already do that. Like, why did they need the thing with Jurassic Park wasn't we learned how to clone. It was that we figured out how to take like millions of years old amber and like dino DNA from that and clone dinosaurs. Like, it isn't that cloning is a new technology. Like, we could do that.
I mean, to be fair, I'm like pretty certain they wanted her to be like some sort of hybrid, and then people like negatively reacted to that as a concept with the cloning girl thing, and I think they dialed that back.
It was like
when they did Dominion.
Ninja Turtles 2014 thing, where like, oh, they can't be aliens, but they were clearly designed to be aliens.
Yeah, that's always the sense I've gotten just watching the movies.
Because that reveal was nothing. It was like, okay, so what about that?
No, and they like kind of retcon it in the next movie too.
No, you remember that? You remember that shot in Jurassic House where we get right up on her face shortly after we get that revelation, and you really expect some kind of effect with her eyes, where like they're gonna go raptor or something, and then there's not. Like, that's what I always thought. We get right up on her face, and I'm like, okay, she's gonna be like part dinosaur, right? And we've really jumped the shark now, and then no. Anyway, we're just talking about Jurassic House again.
Didn't fully go there.
Which was just such a baffling piece. I still to this day can't help but enjoy it and talk about it. And this I'm not going to have nearly as much to say about. So I will just to be opposite and contrary, Austin. I'll open my review section with my sign flip, and I'll go. It is actually a mild green for me. I enjoyed this a lot more than Austin did. I say mild green because I have a lot more negative things to say than positive things, but I was enjoying it while I was watching it, at least past the first like 40-45 minutes, and. I will say, fair. Yeah, that's my rousing endorsement of Jurassic World Rebirth. So here's my like how I felt about from the old sign, or like this movie made me feel on the old signs. And this is the big thing I'll give it, and a lot of why I feel the need to flip green, even if this ends up not holding up on rewatches, because this feels like a one-watch movie to me. Like, I walked out not in anything like a hurry to see it again, but massively in the mood for more Jurassic Park, which is the like biggest compliment I can pay it, I guess. Is it just really put me in the dinosaur mood. And you had kind of the opposite, where like you're on a Jurassic Park high. You're like really excited for Jurassic Park. And you saw this, you're like, oh, okay, well, never mind then. And for me, I'm like, yay, Jurassic Park now. And I wasn't like hugely in that mood yet. This year. And then my wife and I have been playing back through the Lego Jurassic World game again, and like I've just been in a big mood for that now. So I'll give it that. So the how it made me feel thing would be like I was and I guess if you're Austin, like a boring one, but like I was on a Jurassic Park ride through the whole thing. Like, my feeling is, if it can't be about the theme park idea anymore, I want to feel like I'm at a theme park through the duration of the movie. And at least at the point we get on the island, or maybe even like the first big attack on the boat, the first of many Jurassic boats, I did think it captured that okay. And that was the big thing I kept thinking, was I was like, I kind of feel like I'm at a theme park, even though the movie itself has nothing to do with the theme park. And that was kind of nice. Like, it is a really cookie cutter plot. There's not any part of me that's going to recommend this based on the story. There's going to be no endorsing this. Like, there's a great there's any great character arcs, any great lesson to be learned here. Not that stories have to be about lessons, but like, it tries to do some social commentary. It's not especially adept at that. In fact, and maybe I should save this for spoiler stuff, Austin, but I feel like there was a real clear connection to be made with the social commentary they were attempting with the original, and I didn't like that it never came up. There was no connective tissue with it, because thematically it's going, we've got, because of dinosaurs. And this was very much a why now kind of thing for me. I was I was like, was it a secret that this DNA could possibly cure heart disease? And like, why didn't this come up like while they had the working park, or like several years back? Like just now, it's like, oh, by the way, we like this information is out there. Let's go get this. So it's like, why now? I thought of like a couple of different ways you could have like, had somebody connected to either the old park or Jurassic World when it was the working park, like come out of hiding and be like, there's this information I have. It could make someone like billions of dollars. There's a clear.
BD Wong?
Yeah, well, and I hesitated saying BD Wong because I don't want to open that can of worms again. But I thought maybe somebody that worked under him, or like how hard is it to have an actual setup where I don't have that why now question? I'm jumping around, but I thought that was very strange. But anyway, so it's about exploiting science just to make somebody rich, like the original Jurassic Park was. And we're saying, let's not play God, the Ian Malcolm thing. Let's not play God just to exploit nature for our own ends. That will be the demise of us. And the closest thing you have in this is Big Pharma, is drug corporations that could take this new science and make something that a lot of people need and could use, and make it ridiculously pricey, and only like the super rich can have it. Just like with the first park, that line about John Hammond, I don't want this to only be for the super rich. There's a clear connection that you can make there that the movie just doesn't even try. It feels like it picks a social commentary kind of out of a hat. So again, not endorsing this based on story at all. I did ultimately.
Only one of the two scripts they shoved together to make one movie had that social commentary part. So it got lost in translation.
That's
and
fair.
Adapting them to one movie.
I will say I didn't have the two scripts sandwiched together thing like you did. That makes a lot of sense. I didn't think of it. What I thought was more happening was we need a separate subplot with a different family of characters in order to get basic Jurassic Park formula stuff happening. So your main idea is mercenaries going to get blood from dinosaurs. Well, they're not going to bring any kids along with them, and it's Jurassic Park. We have to have kids. So I guess we're going to have to shipwreck a family so we can have kids and have some kind of a family dynamic. And it's a Jurassic Park movie. You have to have that. And if you think about it, like every Jurassic Park movie has kids in it. I think every single one of them, going all the way up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's usually where you get like more of the sense of wonder and fear is through the kids. But
yeah. Brayden Atkinson, what can of worms? I just mean, I like that, like Austin was saying, this does not have a great deal of connection with the Jurassic World movies, and you immediately get more convoluted if you bring in BD Wong, who was kind of repurposed to be mustache-twirling, like DNA, changing mad scientist man. And if you brought him back, unless you found a way to completely rework him again, you'd have
Dominion.
You'd have all the baggage of that again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what we did with him in Dominion. I saw that one time.
He gets redeemed in Dominion. He's like, oh, this was bad. I'm a good man now.
So I guess in that way he could sort of be part of your soft reboot, because you could just pretend like he never did the mad scientist stuff.
He's also in like one scene in every movie. I'm sure most people don't even know who he is.
Don't you know who that is? Yeah, they sort of treat him like he's a big deal. Mm-hmm. But you're right, he doesn't get a lot of screen time. Anyway, I'll try to be quick enough with the rest of this, but I feel like this is a step in the right direction after the trilogy of baffling and bizarre Jurassic World movies. At least the second and third one. I don't think the first Jurassic World holds up great. I liked it a lot when I first saw it, and that's another thing where, I haven't gone back to it a lot, because every time I watch it, I like it a little bit less. And And so I'm glad that we've gotten away from a lot of what we were doing with those, and this is again simpler and self-contained, and for my money, is much more like tonally like the original movie than a lot of these have been, and for me, even more than 3. But the main thing I'm liking about this over 3 is like some of the action pacing and just, it's my big thing with 3 was always just it's too short, but this I think is too long. So I mean, like someplace in the middle. But I think
that's the best part of 3 is that it's so short.
But I think it's a step in the right direction for a franchise that I don't think should take any more steps. Like, I don't need any more of these, and I didn't need any more of these when this happened, and that's part of why I wish we'd waited longer, because, like, I don't know how hard you can really wet my palate for these again. I still feel like this is a franchise that just doesn't have legs. There probably is a much cleverer idea that somebody could land on for a Jurassic Park sequel that to this day we still haven't gotten. Again, this is just a real easy, simple video game plot that's not really movie worthy. So what dragged me through this was all very superficial. I just like cinematography and action pacing, and I think it looks really good. I think this is the best the T-Rex has looked since the first movie. I will stand by that. I think it looks shockingly real in the raft scene. In a movie that has other creatures that don't live up to it, but I think overall, the regular-looking dinosaurs look pretty good. What's weird is the smaller they get, the faker they look to me. Like the more I'm seeing the kind of cartoony CG in it. The little girl has like a pet dinosaur that she carries around with her that I didn't need, but I'm glad that we didn't make too big of a deal out of that. It didn't feel too like, E.T. or something. Like, we weren't super cutesy with it. But the actual CG of the dinosaur felt kind of cutesy to me.
Yeah, it absolutely did. You could also tell me that they added that in reshoots, and I would 100% believe you.
Well, it does feel really tacked on.
It's super tacked on. It's never in any of the big moments. It always goes off, and it's almost always in insert shots.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe so. But yeah, so best thing, worst thing, real quick. My best thing is cinematography and action pacing, and like I guess I'll tie those things. It's weird to say pacing is one of the best things with this movie, because I think it's really slow at the beginning, and I think it's insanely clunky in establishing its characters. We have a scene with Black Widow, because that's just Scarlett Johansson doing the Black Widow thing again, like all the way down to she used to be a spy, like she's just Black Widow. It's very strange, and
she's
then
like really miscast. Like, I don't buy her like ever. She feels like my mom playing a mercenary in this movie. And it's really
there's a
awkward.
scene with her and Ali's character where they just really clunkily break down their tragic backstories, and then they almost never come up again. And I spent the whole movie trying to remember what they were. Like, I didn't remember what their deal was. And the point of it was just they don't feel like they have anything to contribute anymore, and they and then they're gonna again get this thing that will make the medicine happen, and then that's their contribution again. Like, that's the only point of them having any kind of a tragic backstory. But it was like hilariously tacked on, where it's just like, these characters are supposed to be sad. They're sad now.
This is the part in the film when we sad. No, and I don't remember what his backstory
Somebody
is.
died. I don't remember.
But hers is basically just, I had a mom and she died, and it probably has something to do with heart disease.
Oh, maybe so. And again, I saw it once, and it was 5 days ago. I don't remember. But
yeah, we'll say, man, I don't remember super well. And it's like, oh, and I also had a crew member that died or something. Yeah, and then they're sad when their crew
I'm
dies.
with you on Ali. I think he's actually really good in this, and
He's very charismatic. Like he kind of lifts up the material when he's on screen.
what's funny is they're both doing the thing that they usually do, at least in action movies, but the difference is she's just in a Black Widow role without any kind of the pathos, and he's giving more or less the same performance he always gives, but he's cast against type, and that's why it works. To me, where you don't expect him to be the most altruistic, heroic character in the film, and he's still doing that, like, half sadistic laugh he always does, and somehow it comes off really endearing to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say the cast grew on me more as the movie went along. This will be the big place where you and I disagree, I think.
Yeah.
Where I don't think that they're like colorful and memorable enough. Jurassic Park always struggles with this. But
For sure.
there were characters that I thought I was annoyed with and hated at the beginning that I tolerated later, and I gotta give it to them for that. The obnoxious like teenager or like young adult kid on the with the Hispanic family on the boat at the beginning. I kind of they kind of won me over on him a little bit as it went along, where he's this immature kid that knows that he's lazy and not trying hard enough, and has kind of just let himself believe that he isn't ever going to amount to anything. And he's dating this guy's daughter, and he has a speech to him later where he says, "Don't talk crap about yourself, or you'll end up being that person." I thought that was actually a really good scene. So there's flashes here and there of like real humanity and some honest to god decent morality in a family film that I think is kind of lacking now, and so I latched on to some of that. I don't like what's done with Ali in the third act at all, and
No.
we can talk about that when we get to spoilers. And I will also say I don't like the third act. I mean, like there's some stuff with the action at the end that I think is okay, but my worst thing is gonna be what I expected Austin's to be because of his big complaints throughout the Jurassic World franchise, which is friggin' hybrids.
They don't need to be like that.
No, they don't. No,
They're
they don't.
just there.
But what's obnoxious about them is and also I think we could have had more fun with the hybrid idea if we have to do it again. So, they don't look like they belong in this movie. They're just weird monsters. And they're not even like real creatively designed monsters, but they don't look like dinosaurs. If you're going to do genetic experiments, and I thought of this playing, again, the Lego Jurassic World game, Austin, because I don't know if you remember this, because I think you played that. There is a dino randomizer in that game where you can go into I'm talking about this where where you can go into the whatever you call it, the main building in Jurassic Park.
Just like the hub world.
The visitor center. That's what it is. And because the hub world is really big and they spread out
That's
everything.
true. That is into the period where it's like the whole map. You're right.
Which is obnoxious because you have to just hunt around for anything you want to unlock. Anyway, so you go to the visitor center and you go into Wu's lab, and there's a dino randomizer, and you can make dinosaurs out of pieces that you unlock of any other kind of dinosaur. And I'm thinking, why don't we just do that? If we're gonna do hybrids, why don't you go? It's a T-Rex, but it's got a Triceratops head. Do stuff like that, because then at least it would still be dinosaurs, and you could still make it look like kind of realistic. The Goombasaurus at the end doesn't do it for me, man. Like.
It's like the 18th variation of the Cloverfield monster.
Yeah, and it's Doomsday again, and it's kind of like Abomination, and like can we just stop it with that? Like, and that's gonna be as a dinosaur.
I didn't think of those two, but I was more so thinking of like all the different Cloverfield knockoff things. Even Godzilla 2014, like with the enemy monsters in that too.
That's true, but it just has a super ugly face like that. I don't know. It needs to look like a friggin' dinosaur. Anyway, sort of getting to spoilers. But like I said, I'm probably having a hard time justifying it, but just for the watch I had, I really liked what it looked like, and I like that there's some like honest to god downtime between the action set pieces. Like I said, that helped me kind of get one over on the characters at least some. I think we should have killed more of them, and not because I didn't like them, but when you say there's not enough stakes, you have the potential for a decent, again with your video game plot, ticking time bomb where you go two things. We have these three things, basically kind of like MacGuffins, that we have to get. We have to walk right up to dinosaurs in order to get them. Okay, well your danger, your stakes, very clear with that. Why does it not feel harder to obtain those things?
Mm-hmm.
Like I never have the thought of like, oh man, this time they might fumble and miss it and have to go back. Like that never happens. There should be a place where they try really hard to get the thing, and then the dinosaur eats too many of them or beats the crap out of them or whatever, or the parachute thing comes down and somebody misses it. They can't get it. It falls to
The third one is the most cartoony. How did they get this?
How did they catch it? Yeah, they get so lucky when those drop. The other thing it felt a lot like to me, Austin, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I wouldn't have thought to make a Jurassic Park movie like this. It was Jurassic Park a la Twister.
Oh, okay.
Like through Twister, because Twister is we're storm chasing. We got to go catch the tornado. We got to put a thing in the tornado in order to get information about it. And then by the end, we're going to revolutionize the science of the tornadoes. And this was a lot like that. We were like, we gotta go chase down the dinosaurs and get this thing that will give us this information so that we can revolutionize science. And there are places in the score that even reminded me of Twister. It's kind of a just weird way to go about Jurassic Park. That's not even really a criticism, except that's part of the video game-ness of it.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I remember there was an interview a while ago where they were like, we're bringing back the idea that like these characters can die in these movies, and all that really amounted to was they had 3 red shirts.
Yeah,
like you immediately know who's gonna die.
Yeah, and it's odd. Let's go ahead and just say spoilers now.
Yeah, you basically said all your stuff, so yeah.
Just full on spoilers. Just to segue to this point. So, spoilers now, everybody, and I know there's folks in the audience tonight that have not seen this, so shut us down and come back and listen to the rest of this later if you plan to see the movie and you care about spoilers. I could have called this my worst thing. My wife said this. It's really predictable. And I said formulaic, like it's really predictable. Immediately, it's a better movie. And again, I flipped green. I liked it more than Austin did. And I don't know that this would have made Austin flip green, but it's immediately a better movie if Ali is allowed to die at the end. It is ridiculous that he survives that, that we pull the typical tearjerker, like... The music goes to the nines in that scene. I mean, it's emotionally manipulative to the max.
And you know that he's not dead. Like the second all of that starts.
Yeah, like it's trying really hard to make you think that it's doing that stupid twist thing where it goes, he's gonna have the epic sacrifice. He's gonna die. Oh wait, no, he's not. And then we're supposed to be like riveted and crying like happy tears because he's alive at the end. And like you saw that coming, and then. It's lazy because I don't really know how he even could have survived that.
So while watching this movie, I had just this gut feeling of like, oh, this is what it felt like watching Jaws 4 in the theater, where you're like, oh, there's nothing left. Like this is just the ultimate like, we know that there's nothing you can do with this as a franchise. But Jaws 4 does a thing at the end where, because like nobody dies in that movie either. And like one guy gets eaten by the shark, and then later on he swims up, and it's like, oh, he's okay. He's got like a little bit of blood on him. And Robert and I were kind of talking about this a little bit, and he was like, "There's also Billy in Jurassic Park 3 who gets taken away by the pterodactyls, and he also shows up bloodied at the end, and it's very silly. And it's like, how did he survive?" Mahershala Ali didn't even show up like that. He's just fine.
He's just fine.
And the shot,
He's just in the
that
water.
you cut away from is basically like if you took the T-Rex scene in like when he bites down on the lawyer and cut it like right before he like bites down on him, and then you cut away and then you cut back and the lawyer's fine. I said to Robert,
I gotta say
was
this real
like,
quick though, because with
yeah.
the lawyer thing, because what's hilarious is, so I just played through the first movie in the Lego Jurassic Park game, and the lawyer survives in that.
Mhm. Oh, like the book.
Yeah, they get
That's
to
funny.
the end. Well, they get to the end, and the T-Rex just coughs him up.
Oh, that's great.
Because they're like, oh, it's for kids. We can't let anybody actually die. The only thing that's really disappointing, but it's funny. The only thing that's really disappointing with that is Arnold, for whatever reason, they don't let him have a disembodied arm. And I'm like, it's Legos. Like, I don't know why they.
Oh, that is weird.
So when she finds him, like his arm comes on her shoulder, and then she turns around and it's his entire body, and like he's dead, apparently, but it's his whole body. I don't know why they did that.
That's just funny.
No one cares about this. This is just what I did with my weekend that I thought I would share.
No, I said to Robert, I was like, it would be like if Pirates 2 ended, where Jack Sparrow's like going into the Kraken's mouth, and then they all get back to the island, and they're all sad, and then he just walks in, and he's like, "Yeah, I survived that." Like, okay.
Just, could you have any guts at all? Like, I was disappointed like you were with lack of stakes, and I kept thinking, but I was also of two minds about it, because on the one hand I kept thinking, like, for my own personal enjoyment and what I want to see out of one of these movies, it needed to have more bite. It needed to be
Yes.
it needed to be a little darker, and they advertised a scarier movie than this, and so that ain't fair.
Well, I do think like they're trying to. Like, it is more. They do remember in this movie that it is like a horror franchise.
Yeah.
More so than the other World movies did. Like, way more than
Well,
they
and
did.
that's part of why I flipped green on it, is like,
But it's like they
some of those
can't do
individual
anything with
scenes.
that.
But at the end of the day, it just feels kind of sanitized, and it would have felt a lot less that way if they had just let Ollie die at the end, and I still would not have wanted the like super insanely depressing music and all of that. Like, you got to be more understated about it than that. That got obnoxious, and that started to feel more like a world movie at that point. And this movie had been better than that. I think they could have even turn the knife a little bit and make it sadder by having him survive, but Zora doesn't see the flare in time. Like, they get in the helicopter and they get off the island, and then we cut back and the audience finds out that he's still alive, and there's no way he's going to survive now. Like everybody's laughed, and you don't even have to have him get eaten or anything. You can have him just kind of like sadly make peace with the fact that he's probably got days or hours left to live. And that would have gone a long way to me to just say, okay, like, at least there's actions and consequences again. I also would have maybe let the irritating, lazy teenager kid have an epic sacrifice, because it kind of feels like all roads are going to that, right? Like, there's a setup for that. We're told that he's lazy and he just doesn't want to do anything, and then the moment his girlfriend's in danger, he leaps into the water, and we see, like, there's some heart and humanity in this kid. Let him show that at the end and be the one that gets eaten for the sake of everybody else. Like, where is that?
No, that character is like they forgot what a monster movie is, because it feels like they made a character that's purposefully really obnoxious and then didn't have him get eaten. It's like,
Yeah.
that's why you make that character.
But you could have done both.
Like-
You could have had him be really obnoxious and then win us over on him. Then make him kind of endearing, and he gets eaten anyway. Like, just something.
Or he just dies in the raft scene.
Sure.
Something needs to happen there.
But all of these things could have given us more bite.
Yes, absolutely. No, because I
Pun
had the
pun
ride
intended, I
thing
guess.
too. But like for me, it felt like like the video rides, like Universal, where you're in like the little cart and it plays the video.
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's like the dinosaurs they're like, oh, and they like bite right at you, and then you keep going. You're like, oh, it almost got me. That is like every single dinosaur scene. It's just person's going, the dinosaur's like, oh, we just missed him, and it's like just that over and over and over again. And it's like, okay, but if you keep doing that, I'm not going to worry about them because I know that they're going to survive. Like, you've done this 18 times already.
Yeah, it never felt like
It,
anybody that had
yeah.
more than 5 lines of dialogue was in danger.
When we have, like I said, 3 red shirts, and 2 of them die in that initial Spinosaurus attack.
Yeah.
So, like, we didn't even space their death out.
Yeah, and we let the the jerk face obligatory bad guy die at the end, but like you knew that was going to happen. Like the moment that he decides not to save the girl on the boat, you're like, okay, he's a bad guy. He's gonna die later. Like he was, and that's one of the things that I was talking about when I said that elements of the original get moved around chronologically. He's Dennis Nedry. We just let him survive all the way to the third act.
Mm-hmm. No, his entire character is just, I'm evil.
Dude, I
And
spent
it's
a
like,
lot of the
okay, I
movie,
get it.
and I still don't remember. I spent a lot of the movie racking my brain trying to remember what his bad guy motivation was, if we were ever given it. Like, he doesn't save her, and then is trying to make everybody think that that didn't happen. And I'm like, wait, what was his motivation for wanting her
It
dead?
was
I just can't even
because
remember.
it's because like it's illegal to go to that island, and she was gonna call for help
Oh, that's all
on
it
like
was.
the yeah. So he was like, oh well, I'm not gonna let you do that.
Did he have
And then
any?
because he's just like cartoonishly evil, he's like,
Yeah,
oh, I guess I'll just let you
just let
die.
her die. Did he have any nefarious reason for being there beyond just make a lot of money?
No, he just wanted a lot of money because
Okay.
he's
Because
evil.
he feels like that Nedry character that's supposed to like double cross everybody, and it's weird that never happens.
Hmm.
Not to say that it's bad because it doesn't go for the formula. It just seems a little lame that he doesn't have any more going on than that.
No, he's just there to be like, oh, don't forget this is Jurassic Park, and one of the themes is that corporation bad.
Yeah,
And it's like, okay.
I guess that's all it is. Now you said you didn't like anybody except for Ali. I will say I thought the scientist guy was okay. Real typical, certainly in archetype, all of that. But the only sparks I got from Scarlett Johansson's performance were on screen with him. I thought they had decent chemistry, and I thought if they had focused more on them as a pair, I we would have gotten a better performance out of her because I felt like there was something between them, and I'm even okay that he didn't go to full on romance mode because that felt like a clear intended romance where we didn't need to make a huge deal out of it, but like they probably get together after the movie was the sense I got. That could go either way. Maybe they could go further with that, but I was kind of fine with it either way. But I do feel like if they had gotten more screen time together, Johansson shows up more.
No, that'll be the next Jurassic Park 3 thing where they'll make a sequel where they're not a couple, and then in like 20 years we have to make a film just to apologize for the fact that they weren't a couple, like we do with Grant and and Ali Sadler in Dominion.
Yeah, well, that felt like a reverse thing from the first Jurassic Park, where Sadler and Grant are a couple, but we're not told explicitly that they are until like halfway through the movie. And what's interesting is, I on this trip I happened to get my hands on the first issue of the Topps Jurassic Park series, where they did a 4-issue miniseries that adapts the movie in 4 issues. Kind of nice that they spread it out like that. It got that kind of page count, and there are a few differences in it, and one of them is they make that romantic relationship explicit from the beginning. They have a scene
Oh,
where
okay.
they embrace and I think maybe even kiss, like
Mhm.
almost straight away. And I'm like, oh, something got cut. Like, clearly that was
Yeah, it
supposed to be
must
in that
be.
movie. Something got cut.
Mhm.
But that felt like sort of a reverse thing from that, where in that movie they're together, but they don't make it real clear that they're together. And then in this, they meet and they seem to have kind of a romantic spark, but they're just never allowed to fully uh, explore that.
Mhm. See, if I were to take all the pieces and like merge this into one movie, I think what I say as if we're talking about multiple movies. It is one movie.
If I were gonna make
I
Jurassic Park Rebirth a single film,
I think I would just cut like the kind of scientific like heart plot, do the family thing, just make Scarlett Johansson the mom, whatever, and then Mahershala Ali is the captain that is like taking them out
that's good.
uh,
That's good.
on the boat, and then they get stranded on this island, and then Mahershala Ali can then be the main character that has to like lead them through. And I think that's how I would streamline this, but
Well, and would you? Let me ask you this, because yeah, let's just be jerks and rewrite the
yeah.
movie. Would you have a character or characters from the lab somehow still surviving on the island?
Ooh, that's a good
Because I
question.
mean, then you're
You
getting
could just.
very Jurassic Park 3, but I
Mhm.
thought it was odd that there was all of this talk about people on the island that we never see. There was supposed to be like a civilization, and like they're going and trying to find it, and then that never happens. And I thought maybe we would end up with somebody from that expedition, or not expedition, but that science lab that's like survived all these years, but is with a tribe or something. I was kind of surprised we didn't do anything like that.
You could do something where, the dinosaurs are all dying, and we don't think that there's any left, and then they get to this island, and suddenly there's dinosaurs, and then maybe it's like some other company trying to recreate the dinosaurs, and that's why some of them are just kind of wonky, and that
That's a good
they're just
idea.
trying to figure that out. Like they're almost starting from scratch. Like they're not even at the park level from where Hammond was, and so that's why you have things like the T Rex is like tiger stripes and stuff like that. Although I can't tell how much of that is actually supposed to be that they're defects. Like I genuinely could not tell you if the Spinosauruses look different because they're defects or because we just changed the design.
No,
I have no idea.
there's a flying creature that is supposed to be part raptor that I did not pick up on that at all. I had to read about that. It's like, oh
Oh,
really?
they're like mutodon things at the end, right? I think
Yeah,
that's what they're called. Yeah.
yeah. They had some dumb names for stuff.
Well, because I feel like you could, if you took out the hybrid thing, your climax is just the T-Rex and the pterodactyls, and they're both coming in and they fill the same roles. Like, there's no reason for them to be hybrids.
Mm-mm. No, they don't do
Like,
anything cool with that if it's going to be
no,
hybrids. And they sold
no.
the
And even
movie
if you
really
want to
hard
do
on that.
something,
Like
Mhm.
like oh man, we're going to have these crazy dinosaurs, and I'm like, after you've this is the other reason that I think they should have done more like full on splicing, where it's like it's a T-Rex but it's got a Triceratops head, because you've already in the previous franchise, and I know you're saying it feels like a soft reboot, and I agree with that, but you're going to the same territory. You already did the Indoraptor and the Indominus Rex and all of that. Like, you got to go crazier and inventive, or don't do that.
one, if you just want it to be something different, like three is the only one that does anything with the pterodactyls. Like you can do another sequence with them, and we've never really had like a big climax with the T-Rex. It's always the good guy at the end. Like that would be something different for one of these movies.
Yeah, do you
So like
think you could have made the raft sequence a big enough deal that it could be your climax? Because I feel like that's kind of a hard sell, but
not necessarily, but that could be like
maybe.
the T-Rex is like tracking them and then ends up at that place. Like it doesn't necessarily have to fall off and never show up again.
Oh, so you're saying you do like a smaller sequence with it, and then that sets it up, and then when you get to
Yeah,
the end,
exactly. And
it's
then
the
later
big.
on,
Because,
it's like here we go.
dude,
And now we have nowhere to run. Like now we were on a boat going down the stream earlier. Like now there's nowhere to go.
I was so disappointed when the boring looking Goombasaurus at the end.
The
Grabs
D-Rex, because we're very
the
creative.
D-Rex grabs the helicopter out of the air. Because I had a visceral moment with that for a second, because I didn't expect that to happen when he just eats the helicopter, and I was like, ooh, that's cool. And then I went, no, it's not. It's the stupid D-Rex. And I was just imagining if it was a regular or Tyrannosaurus, how cool would that sequence be?
Mm. Yeah, that's one of the coolest things in the like previous World movies. That T-Rex scene with the helicopter at the beginning of Five, Fallen Kingdom.
Oh yeah,
Like, yeah, you could have done something
Jurassic
there.
House trademark. Let me read
Sorry, yeah,
these super chats real quick. Robert Wild $2 super chat. Hi Robert. I invited Robert to this, but he wasn't able to see the movie yet. I just hope the Jurassic Park survival game is great. Me too. I'm worried it's going to get canceled. Things keep getting canceled. We haven't heard about it in a while. I hope the hell it still gets made.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like it probably will, but who knows? That's just kind of gaming now. It'll probably be like another year or two before we hear anything. But hopefully that's cool. I definitely think that's a cool idea.
And Josh put in a $2 super chat. Thanks, man. He says, "Is there a dinosaur you would anamorph into?" Well, I'm predictable, but of course, I'm obsessed with the Velociraptors. I would
And
love
you
to
would
be able
not
to.
make it far in this movie.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Now, I want to talk about that for a minute because,
Well,
on
first I'll just say
principle.
for
Oh,
the
sorry.
super
Go ahead. Go
chat,
ahead. Go ahead.
it's okay. I would just be. I'm boring. I'll just be a T-Rex.
You don't want to be a D-Rex?
Actually, you know what? A pterodactyl would be cool because you could fly and you could eat people and then fly next to them, and happy music plays like at the ending of 3, where you're like, look how wholesome it is that these horrifying monsters are getting off the island.
You made a really good point about doing more with the pterodactyls because 3 makes a big deal out of like why have we never done pterodactyls and
When it's the only thing that gets
it
close to the first movie, that sequence is really cool.
where it's like it feels like we're building to them and then we never do anything with them and there was supposed to be a sequence with them I think in 2 we've talked about this I can't remember now maybe
I
it was
think even
1
in the first
maybe it
one, I
was
think it was
1
cut in 1 and 2, just like the
I
raft scene.
I thought we'd do more pterodactyl stuff in this movie and like I said I do respect it for doing lots of water stuff I they love the mosasaur man they just that scene takes forever is it the mosasaur
I
is that
will
what that's
say,
called
yes, I will say though, it was kind of neat seeing what that would have looked like if it were in one of the first 3. Where like now it's changed. It's not there for action sequences. Now it is like a monster that is out to eat the characters. So like that was kind of neat. It was like,
I
oh
like
yeah,
that.
like now it's like if it were in a Jurassic Park movie.
Well, and that was the scene that had, to me, the most tension and, like, actually felt like things were more at stake. And as soon as you got to the island, everything got easier. But anyway, I you got that really cool bit in 3 where the pterodactyl is like, and like, I don't know if it would actually do this, but it was just a cool kind of monster thing where it's like walking on the bridge, like on its wings.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was so freaking cool, but it doesn't do it very long. It starts it, and then it just like immediately there's a fight or it flies away or something. I can't remember. And you got me thinking this would have been the time to really realize that. We're like it could have done that a lot longer and like come out of the shadows and I don't know. You could do a really cool sequence with more of that.
Yeah, well then they're pretty big, and like even the ones that we have end up like in these kind of cramped spaces with them. Like it's also something different with them. Like I don't see any reason why they can't be actual dinosaurs. And this movie just kind of has that like I don't know if you can say like up its own ass, but like that like oh well, people don't care about dinosaurs anymore thing. And the first Jurassic World has like a meta plot to it where it's like okay, I get what it's saying outside of that. Like I don't know why that's something that
We're like
we're continuing.
it's hard to wow children anymore. They're just stuck in their tablets or whatever.
Like this isn't really saying anything with that. It's just like a
Hmm.
holdover.
No, I liked it as an initial idea, and we just like you said don't really do much with it. I at least within the context of the Jurassic World movies, but like I like moving away from that. I so like I'm conflicted. Like it's hard to be excited about doing more with that. Uh, but I like the idea of the personification of wonder through the science guy, where like he's that holdover. He's like he's hanging on to the awe and wonder of the previous generation that hasn't just lived in a world where we know dinosaurs exist and it's just part of everyday life, and they're all dying out now anyway, so who cares? Like, there could be a meta component even with that in talking about the franchise itself, where like this is kids that go see these now. Like, kids still seem to like dinosaurs, but they've never known a world without not just Jurassic Park, but now like a 7 film franchise. Like, these things are just so routine, and it almost could have been commenting on the lack of wow factor in the previous franchise, where you've got this guy, again, kind of personification of wonder, that goes, no, really, this is all amazing. And now that the dinosaurs are back in their own environment, and it's like Lost World, it's like going to a world where the dinosaurs have taken over again. We, through his eyes, get to kind of recapture that again. But I don't know if it's intentionally talking about the franchise. It doesn't feel like it is, and that's what that could have been.
And that's what it's doing in the 2015 movie. But you also could have had something interesting where, because they're all dying out, and you could have had something where it's the reverse for the kids, where now your main kid is like, oh, well, I don't know what a world without dinosaurs looks like. Like, it's weird that they're going extinct. Like, it's a different perspective from the world that you've built up.
But you'd have to do anything with your kid character.
Yes.
which we didn't do.
No. We threw her in a ton of danger, and it immediately reduces the stakes, because you're like, well, they're not going to kill her off. Like, no duh.
I feel like on principle, I guess I should have flipped red, just because we only use raptors in one scene as a sight gag, and they're
not even in focus.
And they're out of focus, yeah. But I kind of respect it. Except we don't do enough cool stuff with other dinosaurs, and there's too many boring looking hybrids. But again, I do love what the T-Rex looks like. I just wish we did more with it. But
now, if I liked this movie more, I would have clapped, because after the first 3, I'm like, I'm so sick of raptors. Like, they need to sit this one out. They can sit out for a movie.
No, I agree with you. And then you do. I don't ever need another one of these, but when inevitably we do another one of these, I let the raptors have their teeth back, and let them be not the smartest entity on the planet, but smart enough to open doors again, and let them not be domesticated and easy to train. But I'm with you. Like, I feel like, just following through with the gimmick, I'm supposed to be angry about the fact that we didn't do anything with the Velociraptors in this. Clearly we can still sell them. We still put them on a T-shirt. But
oh God, I did not realize that you had raptors on your shirt.
Yeah,
they were genuinely hidden.
Yeah,
that's a straight up clever girl moment.
I just bought this shirt like 2 hours ago.
Oh, nice.
Because so this has been at Walmart for a couple months, and I've been wanting one, but they never have it in my size. And today I went to one that got new stock, and they had one in my size, and I was like, I gotta have that. Yeah.
I think the most you would get though, Cap, because this is very much they're Jurassic Park 3ing the Raptors, and so because of that, the Raptors would never be what they are again after that, like the T-Rex. The T-Rex never recovered from 3.
That's true. Or we'll be so out of ideas that we'll just double down on them, and you'll have a movie that's nothing but raptors.
That's basically what the World movies were. I guess Dominion doesn't have that as much.
That's because Dominion doesn't have any friggin' dinosaurs in it, and the best actual dinosaur sequence in that. Yeah, but the I've heard that from you, I guess, but I haven't seen the extended version. But in the theatrical version, the only cool dinosaur scene in the movie is still a raptor scene. Because, like, the raptors running along with motorcycles is kind of a neat image, but, like, that's the only...
The Mission Impossible scene in that movie, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I don't know that I have anything else to say about this movie. It's real disposable. Again, obviously, I had more fun with it than Austin did, but I don't know if it'll hold on up on rewatches. It felt like a one-time watch, just to kind of make me feel like Jurassic Park again. I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like I could have the opposite where it's like in like 5, 10 years it could just be like, yeah, it was like another one. Just in with the pack. While as in the moment, like I was just kind of annoyed. But I was annoyed because I was excited.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed too, even though I liked it more than you did, but I adjusted faster, I guess. Where like I feel like I got half an hour into it and I went, "Ah, this is not going to be the thing I thought it was going to be." And then I kind of adjusted to it.
Well, I guess I should throw it. I had that like first scene, which is very rare that a movie loses you immediately.
Yeah.
But when we opened in the scientist scene, and the guy's like in his hazmat suit and eating his chocolate bar, and then he throws his wrapper down, and it like flies up like
Oh,
its final
yeah.
destination and goes into the door, so the door gets jammed. I was like, oh,
That's how we're doing
I
that.
didn't realize this is what I was in for.
Well, and that feels like a scene right out of House of Dominion.
Even the first one, I was like, oh, we're right back to just kind of how dumb those movies were. Oh, but not in like a fun dumb
And
way, in
then
like a
it kind of gets away
like
from that.
really.
Like that
It
feels
never
almost
gets.
like a holdover. Like it almost feels like
Yeah,
somebody, like the last guy directed, like Trevorrow came in and did that part and then left. Like that's
which
kind
is
of what that feels
weird
like.
because that is like the ultimate Gareth Edwards scene. That scene is in Godzilla 2014. It's in Rogue One, and now it's in this one. It's a weird thing he keeps doing, where people are like knocking on a glass door to be let out, and there's red light behind them, and then they die.
It's so weird.
It's a really weird fetish he has. I don't know what's up with that.
And I will say I like Rogue One more than a lot of people. I've not gone back to it, but I really enjoyed that in the theater. And so like this is a director I like. Okay, and I like what Godzilla 2014 looks like. I just have all the same problems everybody else does with it. That like
Hmm.
you can't see the monster well enough. Cranston dies in the first 10 minutes. Like I have all the same problems everybody else does with it.
No, and I've got a lot of problems with 2014, but I do like that movie. So like I was excited when Gareth Edwards got the job because I was like, oh, that's
Well, and he was clearly right for it.
exactly. He just also didn't get to make a movie. Like I also have a hard time blaming this on him because to me this is much more David Koepp, Steven Spielberg, and Frank Marshall's disaster. He's just the guy that had to pick up the camera and film it. Not literally, but you know what I mean. Like,
Well, and this is just wild speculation, but I wonder even how much of Kep you have to blame with this. I wonder how much of it is Spielberg because some of what Kep talks about with what he's
hmm,
wanting to do with this, I just feel like I'm reading some frustration in the script where he's trying and there's stuff he's just not allowed to do. Like I don't buy that he's just either in denial or flat out lying about stuff when he
hmm.
says like he wants to bring the danger back and make more of a like kind of straight up horror movie. I'm seeing so much inkling of that. I feel like something's holding him back, whether it's studio, whether it's Spielberg, I don't know. But I don't even
When
know how much of
Spielberg's
it
like the big
you can blame Kep
holdover
for.
for.
I don't
Mhm.
know how much of Lost World you can blame Kep for.
That's fair. Well, and Kep's a weird writer. Like he'll turn around and make something really great, and then turn around and make something wonky. But he can be all over the map. But that is fair.
That's
Maybe he
because it's
isn't
such a
entire.
collaborative process. The thing is, I think every single, I'm going to be hyperbolic when I say this. I think
Do
every
it.
single prolific screenwriter needs to put out 2 or 3 novels because
Just so we know.
then you'll know what kind of writer they actually are.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say too. With that as an idea, like Spielberg is like the main person that's pushing the hybrid thing, from my understanding. So
And I
there
still
probably is quite a bit
I
of
still
that.
think you could do cooler things with it than we have. I'm not saying I want more of it, but
Mhm.
this was your chance to do something more creative than the Indoraptor, and you didn't do it.
Well, 'cause the last ones we did a giant raptor, a not as giant raptor, and then now we have the Cloverfield monster and a raptor with wings.
Yeah, and I couldn't even tell that's what it was until Wikipedia told me.
Well, the big thing is just we recreate the shot of the raptor feet because we do the part where they're in the convenience store and it's just the kitchen scene from the original.
Yeah, I didn't
And
really have that thought. You think it was just the kitchen scene
Mhm.
again?
Yeah, we even do some of like the reflection stuff.
Oh, that's
Not
true.
exactly the same, but like
So
uh,
okay, but I
there's
did
some of
have
that.
that thing right where sometimes I felt like it wasn't ripping off; it was homage. It was okay homage. Like everybody has to make their own call with that, I guess. Like some of that stuff I didn't mind. And then there are things like you have the few clear obvious callbacks, but they never get crazy with it. I'm a little on the fence about, am I okay that the scientist guy worked under Grant? Like we just throw that in so we have some kind of a connection to the original. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
studied under Alan Grant.
So I rolled my eyes at that. If I liked the movie more, would I have rolled my eyes? I don't
Probably
know.
not. Probably not.
I maybe would have been like, you don't need that, but uh, but I don't know if I would have reacted as harshly.
Oh, I also meant to say earlier, I will forevermore refer to, I mean, if it ever comes up, I refer to Scarlett Johansson's character as Zora the Explorer.
Perfect. The also not only are the characters indestructible in this film, but that freaking raft is indestructible. The T-Rex is like jumping. There's so little stakes in this movie that the T-Rex bites down multiple times on an inflatable raft, and it's perfectly fine at the end of the scene.
And somehow that's not the silliest, most cartoonish thing that happens in that scene. And I think, tell me if you think I'm going too far. I think
Mhm.
it's even like the second or third silliest thing in the movies with World in the title, with Jurassic World in the title. The silliest thing, of course, is probably the Indoraptor like winking at the camera that everybody makes fun of with like the Warner Brothers cartoon thing. But the maybe second silliest thing is the T-Rex is standing there and the raft comes up
The
and the
Jason
raft
Voorhees
comes
shot.
down and he disappears. What? That's
No,
a
it's
T-Rex. How does he vanish?
no, it's
Like
even
he's
it's
a
even worse than that,
ninja.
Cap.
Like, was he trained by Master Splinter? Like, speaking of 2014, that is a 2014 Ninja Turtle. He is somehow that big and bulky, but totally stealthy. Sarah looked at me and just went, no.
No, it's worse than what you're describing, Cap. The T-Rex is sleeping there. She comes over, she inflates the raft, it shoots up, it blocks the T-Rex, comes down, T-Rex is gone. She starts pulling it up, and it's like, okay, where did the T-Rex go though? Like the water isn't moving, like nothing's out of place. Like where did it go? And then she's pulling the raft, and then the camera cuts. So let's say like your shot is here when you're looking at it. It cuts so it's like that, like it's just kind of a slightly angled version of the same shot, and the T-Rex is like in the exact same spot and walking into the water.
That's true.
It's like, oh, okay. So it didn't go anywhere.
But it was missing. So we have a teleporting T-Rex that goes, I guess, a couple of feet in some direction and then comes right back? I don't know.
This is what happens when you give an animal Nightcrawler's powers.
We got a T-Rex that's just bamfing. Braden Atkinson says that shot is in the trailer. If he's talking about the T-Rex disappearing like that,
I think
didn't. You see it really?
I think it's in one of the. I think it's in one of the later trailers, though. Like not in the
I
initial
may have
ones.
missed it, or I just don't remember. But
Because I remember seeing people reacting to it, and they were like, "Oh man, like that's great!" Like Gareth Edwards remembers that the T-Rex can teleport because of the bit at the end of the first one where it like just pops in out of nowhere.
oh, they think he's doing a callback to that. I don't know if that's the kind of callback you want to do, though.
Probably not. Probably not, though.
Yeah.
And then you get the callback with the Jeep and the raft where the girl's stuck in it and the T-Rex is like biting down.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
but the raft is perfectly fine.
Yeah, like we at least mash up those cars.
When there's a point where the T-Rex gets the full raft in its mouth, it's like twisted around and it's just chomping on it. And then it throws it up in the air. And then at the end of the scene, it's like a comedy bit. It like pops down. Which,
Yeah.
now that I say that, this movie has really bad MCU humor, like all throughout.
You think?
Yes. The worst one is that stupid mint joke. I couldn't believe that came back.
Remind me.
So they're talking to the scientist guy at the beginning, and he takes out a little tin, and he puts some mint in his mouth, and he chews on it for like
funny.
4 minutes.
Yeah, and he just keeps crunching, and that's supposed to be funny, and then it comes back later.
Yeah, it comes back in like a tension moment where it's like, uh-oh, something's not right here, and then you hear, and it's like, oh,
that's funny because we did that an hour ago.
Yes.
You're
No,
right.
that's where you get.
You're right.
That's where you get the second. That's where you get the second. Like we need blood scene. It's with the Titanosaur, I think is what it's called, and it's like the biggest dinosaur, and it's a herbivore, and it's super awkward because they're acting like they're seeing these animals mating, but it's a PG-13 movie. And I saw an interview where Cap said in his script that's what it is, but they had to cut it. But it's just everything about it's really weird, and I kept waiting for it to flip where it would finally do something we've never done in these movies, and we go, "Oh, look,
show dinosaurs having sex."
No.
Okay. Well, we haven't done that.
We haven't done that. We're still not. But no, I thought it was going to do a thing where we go. I just think
it's interesting that that's the big thing you're expecting, that you're disappointed by Austin.
No, it was just a really awkward moment because it was like that's clearly what's supposed to be happening in this scene, but they're not. Like it's really weird.
I don't remember this.
Because Scarlett Johansson looks. They look up and they're like, "What's going on?" And the scientist's like, "There." And Scarlett Johansson looks up and she's like, "Oh." And then we cut to them and it's just two of them like rubbing their faces together, and then they like walk away because they're in love, and it's like really weird. It's like, okay.
You said it's been a few days. That part is not sticking with me. I don't remember.
Yeah, but so that's one of the dinosaurs they have to take the blood from, and I was like, oh, they're going to do something these films have never done. We're going to flip the script and we're going to go, oh, look, the herbivores can also be scary, in that they're going to take blood from it and it's going to panic, and then they're all going to.
That's what I thought was going to happen
out,
too.
And they're right under them, so like. That's scary.
And it was
like
shot like it was for tension, like you were waiting for something to drop.
That entire scene, I'm like, okay, like when is the shoe gonna drop? Oh, it's not? Okay. It's really weird.
How did you feel about the kind of like awe-inspiring sequence where the kind of token moment where the scientist guy gets to like really breathe in? I'm seeing these amazing dinosaurs with the huge ones with the weird like fin.
That's the scene I'm talking about.
But
the scene where they're clearly supposed to be having sex.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't even pick up on that. But I was just going to ask you what you thought of those dinosaurs, because I don't know if those are real or not. At first, I thought that was a hybrid thing, and then Sarah told me that the name of them was like a real dinosaur name, and I haven't looked it up yet to see if that was
that's I think it's Titanosaurus is how you pronounce it, but it's they're the biggest dinosaur.
That is what that is.
I do not think they had tails like that though. But that comes down to another place where I'm like, is that because they're defects, or is that like a Dilophosaurus thing where the Dilophosaurus did not have the like frills, it did not shoot oil at people? Like, is that just part of like the movie monsterness of this franchise?
Raptors aren't really raptors. Like, you gotta give them some of that. We've always done that. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like I can't tell you with certain things like that.
They do these embellishments, but when
Jurassic
you have
Park, or is that because it's the defect island? I don't know.
Yeah, when you have that as a plot point,
then
it's hard to say what it is. But I thought those were almost too alien.
Yeah. No, because like part of their mating is they're like rubbing their heads together and their tails like make a heart in the air.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's also really schmaltzy.
I got that it is schmaltzy. I thought that I got that they were being affectionate. I didn't get that they were like straight on supposed to be having intercourse or whatever.
I mean, maybe I would have thought that, but it's mainly because the characters react like they are.
Yeah, I either missed that or I'm not remembering it right now.
Mhm.
But like I said, I just
Because
thought
it's
that that was
also
a little
like
alien
they
looking
were.
for
Mhm.
for the point of that, because the problem was the point of that scene was supposed to be this is what this guy's been waiting for, and I can't tell if he's seeing real dinosaurs or like weird, embellished like mutated dinosaurs, and so I'm
Oh, I see what you're
you see what I'm
saying.
saying? So
Yeah.
like he's so like he's got the awestruck moment like the brontosaurus in the first movie, and I'm like, but if you're looking at weird alien hybrid things, why are
Mhm.
you reacting this way? So in his mind, is he going, oh, that's what they look like? I didn't know that they had these big tails, or I've always wanted to see the big tails, or like, what is he reacting to? That's what I was confused about.
Well, there is like a big herd of them all moving in pairs. He could have said they do
They
mate in
do
in herds.
they do move in pairs. They do have huge tails that go into the shape of hearts. Alan Grant has speculated about this for decades. He's kind of lost his mind and can't put a coherent sentence together now, but boy, if he was still lucid, he would be really excited about seeing these dinosaurs.
Did I tell you about my thing with that reading the book where when you meet Alan Grant, he's talking about duck-billed dinosaurs and he's like, I'm pretty sure they moved in herds. That's my working theory. And I was like, I feel like you could have had that as your setup for they do move in herds in the
Yeah,
movie. It's
yeah,
kind of weird now that
that's
it isn't
true.
there.
Well,
It's one of those things where I read the book and I'm like, oh, like now I feel like something's missing.
yeah, because it feels like a callback line the way he says it.
Y- Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
Worf
exactly.
at the beginning of First Contact when he goes, "Perhaps today is a good day to die," and I'm like, the emphasis on that suggests that at some point you said it's not, and we didn't get that scene.
Or the part where they're in their Jeep and then Alan Grant for like one shot has his little flashlight. It's like
It's like,
why is he
why is he? Do they think the windows are made of glass?
have... I don't think they were. The glass did not shatter when the T-Rex came down on it. I don't think they were made of glass.
Stussy, I've been looking into the lore. There's no hybrids in the film, just mutated dinos. I guess I'm conflating those things.
To be fair, there is a shot in the laboratory where I think like on one of the I don't know if it's where the D-Rex is or if it's where the Mutadon things are. There's like a two-headed raptor there. There is a shot where it says like mutant hybrid. Like
Okay. Well, and also, I'm gonna have to argue against Stussy here,
I think it's just semantics.
because right, but like the suggestion he's making is we're not actually grafting two things together, but we are because we know that the flying dinosaurs at the toward the end are a cross. I think toward the end are a cross between a one of the flying dinosaurs. I'm not sure which one, and a
Just one of them,
raptor,
I guess.
but like we did graft a raptor with a
Mhm.
not
Well,
a pterodactyl, but something like that.
mhm.
Pterodon or something. I can't remember.
Well, the D-Rex is obviously a hybrid of a T-Rex and a pug.
A T Rex and a Goomba.
There you go. Yeah.
Um,
Mahershala Ali got away because he stomped on it. That's what he did.
yeah, the D Rex, the D and D Rex stands for Distortus Rex. Good one. See, it's a distorted dinosaur. So that's
I'm
not.
surprised it's not like destructive Rex.
So see that one. Yeah, I kept wondering what the D was supposed to stand for. I don't know if that's written on a monitor somewhere or something, but I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
probably somewhere.
I don't know where
They
that
maybe say it in
synopsis
that
is
opening
getting it.
scene. No, I've heard that too. I couldn't remember until you said it what it was, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's
but
probably in that opening.
I didn't hear it in the movie. I'm sure it's in there somewhere, but I had to go find it.
No, and they're such afterthoughts. Like they bookend the movie, but like,
Well, and I thought it was a. I'll say this real quick, and then I don't know. I said I have nothing left to say, and then somehow we talked for another half an hour. I really have nothing left to say. But
To be fair, I was just throwing things at you. I was like rapid firing things to get out there.
no, that was fun. We somehow had an actual conversation with a movie that I'm afraid I'm not going to remember next week. But oh man, what were we talking about?
The D-Rex, how they're barely in the movie, they just bookend it.
Oh yes, thank you. God, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
So Austin's always getting me back on track. I think it was a structural mistake to introduce the family on the boat where they introduce it, because the whole movie stops and just now we're in another movie, which is probably why it feels to you like it's two scripts pushed together. And maybe this would feel too much like three, but I kind of felt like the movie should have opened with them, because it feels like the clear structural thing to do. And then, like, I don't know where you put that flashback. I also don't know how necessary that flashback is. With the laboratory, like
Yeah.
I kind of think you could live without that, but whatever. It's like, oh, there was an accident. I guess that's another place where we're just filling in the formula for the first movie, because that is obviously the same thing as the raptor that escapes at the beginning of the first movie. Shoot her! Like, that's just that scene. But except it takes place, further in the past, and is one of its only ways of trying to connect it to the last franchise, because importantly, that doesn't go all the way back to Jurassic Park. That's I think it's supposed to be like 5 years before Jurassic World, so like the park is already open. Like the full Jurassic World park is open.
I can't remember the exact timeline they gave, but I assumed that was just we're making the dinosaurs that will be in Jurassic World, because it's definitely sometime after Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. What I read was it's 5 years before Jurassic World, and if that's true, then that park is already open. Because that park's been around longer than that. I'm pretty sure. It's also weird that this movie is set 2 years in our future. I don't know why they did that. Yes, apparently it's... grain of salt, I read this in a wiki synopsis, but if it's true, 2027.
Maybe David Kemp really thought that that's when they would release it, but Universal and Frank Marshall were like, we're getting the money now. Look, July 2025 is going to be popping. We may not have IMAX, but we're going to be there.
But what I feel like you ought to have done with this is you open with the Mosasaur attacks the family on the boat, and like you open the movie and it's kind of a misdirect where we think that that's going to be the main cast, and then they get attacked and you're not sure if they live or die, and then you get your logo. And for the opening, by the way, I thought the logo was cool. It's got like that red background, and it doesn't even have
it was cool. You know
name
what?
of the movie, I loved that. Is that your best thing? That's your actual best thing?
No. In the theater, I was like, that might be my best thing. Like the opening scene was so bad. I was like, but that logo is so cool. That could genuinely be my best thing.
It's really good.
It was a really cool logo. Yeah.
Austin's favorite thing is the logo. So anyway,
I was like, even if this movie turns around, that is still a really cool part.
So the logo happens right after the family gets attacked in the boat, and then you get to the A story, and you wait for the mercenaries to meet up with the family in the boat. That's what we ought to have done.
Or you just wonder if they died, and then you get to...
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like that call. Yeah, no, I think you're completely right. That is how that should have opened.
And then we find out, oh no, they survived, and that's why we met them at the start, because they are going to factor into this.
Mm-hmm. Well, then when they leave on the boat, all I could think of is, they're still out there.
But that is the last thing I have to say about this film.
Mm-hmm. No, my canon ending is they get out on the boat, and then they immediately get attacked by the Mosasaur, and they just all die.
That's fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, I just wish we got to see it happen. Dan's Den. This is, and again, I like these characters a little bit better than you did, but I don't feel like enough people died in your Jurassic Park movie. I
You
don't
want
know.
dinosaurs eating people in this Jurassic Park movie?
I kind of did. Are we gonna have some, I don't know, violence in this Jurassic Park movie? Well, and okay, sorry. I started to make this point earlier and then I never actually made it, which is I was a little bit of two minds about that because I said I wanted a darker, more violent, kind of edgier movie. But I did sort of appreciate that it was in the tradition of the first movie where there's some violence, but you can still take your kids to it. And I feel like you could have gone a little further, not even in showing like really rough violence, just letting more bad things happen. Like that's all you had to do. I told Sarah, because she made a really terrific point, I thought, when she and I were talking about it, where she said, it feels more to her intense than the original movie because you have because it never goes violence wise any further than the first film, but it's got a lot more set pieces.
Sure.
So when it does go to those places, it just happens more often. And so she's like, because of the sheer quantity of it, the like entry age for this might be a little older than the original Jurassic Park, but it never actually goes any more intense than that. It just does it more often.
Yeah, well, it's because we do when it's funny because I say the raft scene is the Jeep scene, but that comes after. But we kind of do that post Jeep scene where now we're just kind of stranded on the island, just kind of walking around. But the movie the original has a lot more downtime, and just a lot more walking around the jungle. You have the action sequence with the tree where we don't really have any dinosaurs. While this is just like dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. And then, but they also can't have any menace.
Yeah. So that's the frustrating thing with that. I still don't think it has to get technically any more intense than it does to still let more bad things happen. Like I like that.
Yeah, and I agree.
When characters get eaten, it's always at a distance. I mean, it's just like the first movie. When you have blood, it's in the water. Like,
yeah, I thought that part was that was a really cool looking shot.
There's some nice, like individual shots. Dan's Den. This is how these streams usually go. You think the conversation's over, and then you go for an ungodly amount of additional minutes.
Stop talking. I just want to eat my Pop-Tarts.
Nicholas Bodo, which Jurassic Park movie has the highest body count?
My gut reaction was
Lost World?
Dominion just for being the longest. I feel like it's one of the world movies.
Maybe so. Well, and the first one has a decent amount of death in it, doesn't it? The first Jurassic World.
It just doesn't feel like it because they're not. Yeah. See,
well,
I feel like
you've got
world
the
movies.
You got the you got the what do you call it? Pterodactyls coming down and grabbing people and taking them up and.
Yeah, I don't know how many people die in that scene, but like they're at least getting attacked. The difference though is that there is more of like a horror-y aspect to it in the first three, while it's more just blockbuster action in those first three world movies. So it doesn't feel like as many people are dying.
That's true, and it's maybe more ambiguous about who's actually biting the dust versus just somebody got attacked, and then we move the camera away, and then who knows what happened to them.
Yeah, and I think I want to say it's one of the world movies just because I feel like you get a lot more extras dying, where we're not killing as many people that you actually recognize or are named, but there's just a lot of randos dying.
Stussy, there's an original dinosaur movie coming out next year for the director of It Follows and Under the Silver Lake. I saw a preview for some new dinosaur movie, but I don't know if it was that or if it was something else that looked like a little bit more low budget, of course. But we need a different dinosaur franchise, or at least a decent, one and done dinosaur movie. Like I liked 65 more than a lot of people did, but it's not great or nothing.
Well, I've always wondered because obviously Universal owns this. Like, uh, could they make another dinosaur franchise that uses something that looks similar to a Jurassic Park dinosaur and has some of that same sound design in terms of like roars and stuff,
Yeah,
because it's what you recognize. Like, could you do that and have it not be Jurassic Park? That's something I've just kind of always wondered. I don't know what my answer to that is,
that's a good
but
question. But it's
I'm
time
sure a
for
lot of people
some.
would say no. But
It's time for some other
I don't
premise.
know.
I don't
Yes,
even need it to be present day. I think it'd be fun to come up with some kind of a contrivance to put dinosaurs in various random historical periods.
it's just Predator.
Do fun time travel things with it. Not make like a
Yeah,
big time travel movie, but just your setup is somehow we mix some time periods, and then you get dinosaurs and cowboys or dinosaurs and Tudor England, or it's just any number of like odd things you could do.
dinosaurs were frozen in some glaciers and then they melt out in feudal Japan.
Oh yeah, that's the way you get dinosaurs anywhere you want to get them.
Yeah, they're just in glaciers. That's a whole franchise right there.
Sure. Somebody earlier, and apologies because I don't remember who it was, and the comment was a while back, but somebody asked if we think this franchise should be done after this, and my answer is going to be the same as it has been for a long time because again, I don't think this has ever really had legs, or nobody's convinced me there's a great sequel to this original story to be made, but like you can make anything work. I'm sure, as I've always said, you could do something more creative than we've done with it so far, but it does feel like that Terminator thing past Terminator 2, where what else do you do with it? But the thing I always go to is I just want a hard R adaptation of the novel more off the page. I think a remake is the only thing left to do with this, and I think it should be done in a completely different format to separate it. So I think that needs to be a like 4 to 6 hour miniseries. I think it needs to be on TV. I think it needs to be hard R, and I'm even okay
It
with
was like an HBO
and I'm
miniseries.
even okay with animated. Yeah, but I think that's the only thing left to do with Jurassic Park.
No, it's pretty done. The last thing I always say this. The last thing I think we have for all of these rebooting franchises is stop rebooting them and to start rebooting them together. So the next the next one should be Back to the Future, but they end up in dinosaur times, and it's the Jurassic Park dinosaurs, and then through time travel shenanigans, John Hammond gets the DNA. It has nothing to do with
Oh,
Amber.
that's how he gets it.
Yeah,
Well, Marty McFly, like gets some dinosaur blood, and he's like, "I bet I could sell this," And
yeah,
then he comes back to 1985, and he meets John Hammond,
yeah,
and
exactly.
that's how Hammond gets the blood, and then Doc Brown is like, "Oh, you've ruined the whole timeline because."
Doc Brown's like, look out, Marty! That dinosaur's Tannonsaurus Rex. He bullies all the other dinosaurs in these parts.
Well, that's an episode of the cartoon.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah. When they do prehistory in that, it's Hill Valley of the prehistory, and there's a talking Biff Tannen dinosaur.
That's beautiful.
They did
That's the
that,
ultimate place to go because you have to do all of the symmetry stuff.
and it's real early. It's like the fourth or fifth episode.
Marty swallows a frog and then his picture starts to disappear and he's like, "Oh, Doc, I think I just swallowed one of my ancestors."
We got to the hour mark with this, and I was like, "This is going to be the shortest one of these we've done in the longest time," and we're at almost 2 hours.
Yeah, it
I
just
don't.
became nonsense. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. We expect that from you. Anyway, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. Austin, this was a fun conversation, though. I appreciate talking about it with you, man.
Yeah, no, I feel like we're at a very similar place with it. It's just you enjoyed it more than I did. Like it's
Yeah,
like I don't know that we disagree a ton.
not really. I can't defend it. I just wouldn't. I just didn't mind watching it. I don't know how I'll
Yeah.
feel a second time. And I did, like, I warmed up to the characters more than you did, but it's not like I found them ultra memorable or nothing.
Hmm. At least we both like Mahershala Ali.
He's great. I mean, I guess at least he got paid while he's sitting around waiting for Blade to happen.
I didn't see the full clip, but I saw somebody mention it. They asked him about it on the press tour about like being in a Marvel movie, and his response was like, "That's not a question for me. That's a question for Scarlett."
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's like, oof.
I'm kind of
You got to
surprised
be
he
in
answered
What
it that
If.
way.
Yeah, I
Like, I'm
mean, I
kind of
think.
surprised he didn't say, "Well, I mean, I'm supposed to. It just hasn't happened yet."
Yeah, well, I think somebody asked him like, "When is it happening?" And he was like, "I don't know. Ask Marvel. It's not up to me."
Yeah.
So he is getting up there though, but he looks really good for his age.
No,
So
he does, but they need to hurry up and make that.
yeah.
I actually kind of hope they don't, but
Well, it came out the other day that
because I don't trust
apparently
it. I don't trust that to be any less sanitized than this was.
because that was supposed to be a period piece set in the 20s, and apparently they sold off their costumes to that Sinners movie, and they used them for extras. So
Nicholas
at least they got to
Poto,
be in a movie.
Nicholas Poto, a way darker and more faithfully animated adaptation would be very interesting. I would love to see that. I wouldn't
Yeah, I
even
would love to see
mind.
an R-rated reboot.
Yeah, I wouldn't even mind if it was in like a pseudo anime style, like a lot of recent Netflix stuff, like
Mhm.
with their Transformers and their Terminator and stuff. Like I think that could be a really cool style choice.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, you could do that.
I really wouldn't mind it.
Hmm.
There's a time where I wouldn't have wanted that, but like they've won me over with some of their franchise stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and I still haven't seen those, but like I hear nothing but good things.
Yeah, I like that stuff a lot.
Hmm.
And
Maybe one day.
Castlevania, and
Mhm.
Netflix has had a lot of really good anime shows or anime type shows based on these long running properties that we can't figure out what the hell to do with.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to call Frank Marshall and Steven Spielberg and say, "Stop doing what you're doing. It's bad. Here's what you actually do."
Well, guys, we're gonna get going finally. We're just running
Yep.
the clock down for no reason. We appreciate you watching. We'll be back again next week for Superman. That'll be on Monday because that comes out this week. I'm seeing it Friday. Austin's seeing it Thursday. If anybody sees it before us, don't spoil anything, or you won't be allowed to watch the channel anymore.
Well, I think the
And
premiere's happening like well, it's probably done now, but it
but
was
tonight,
happening tonight.
cool.
Yeah.
I didn't get the golden ticket, Austin. I got that book, but I didn't get the golden ticket out of it.
They didn't even give golden tickets to Canadians, so I had no
Oh, really?
chance.
Oh, sorry
Yeah.
to hear that. But they only had one in the entire United States, so that wasn't going to happen.
I hope it went to one of the bratty kids from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I hope it went to Mike TV.
Exactly. Well, he would love that. He gets to go see a big Hollywood movie on the big screen.
And then I've got a new show starting tomorrow night. I'm
Yes.
coming back and doing new comic stuff again. I'm gonna do a new version of Comic Book Late Night starting tomorrow night. I'm gonna be solo on the first one. I will occasionally have a co-host on that show. Um, we'll see when that starts. And I mean, Austin, you're always welcome on it when you're around and have time. But I'm gonna have a regular co-host, a local guy that helped me make the movie that you guys don't know real well. He's only been on like one video, but
Cool.
I thought of him. Last week and reached out to see if he wanted to do it. And he's out of town this week, but he's going to come as often as he can. He keeps up a lot harder than I do, and collects physical, and he'll be great for that show. That's Chris. So anyway, I'm gonna try to start that show around 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Might be earlier, might be a little bit later. I'll let you guys know. And I'm gonna be looking at books that come out the next day. We're doing it Tuesday for Wednesday. So kind of like the show Austin and I did like a month ago. I'm going to go through whatever's coming out the next day, and I'm going to show you stuff I bought the previous week, and I'm going to try to do a short kind of non-spoiler review of a recent trade or miniseries or something. And so sometimes those will be things that all flesh out in a vault, probably. But I thought it would be good to get to use that as an excuse to just read more of stuff that's come out in the last few years. And I'm gonna let super chatters help me pick those each week. So anyway, folks that are reading new comics, pop in. And we should have a good time. Tomorrow night will be probably a longer one because I've got a lot of newer stuff to go through since I haven't done a show in the last month. But usually I'm going to keep that to more like an hour. I wish I should never say. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, you've already cursed it.
I've ruined it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you. We'll see you. We'll see you next time. I was Captain Logan. This was Austin, the Day Ghost.
Life. Good night, everybody.